Hello everyone, welcome to the Open Mind channel. In the early 1960s, the United States was on the brink of war with Cuba, of a fear arising from communism which was at its height. But behind the scenes was something shocking that was being planned, an operation so secretive and confidential that it was kept hidden from the public for decades. This is a story behind that operation known as Operation Northwoods, a Cold War conspiracy that if carried out could have changed the face of history forever. Before we discuss Operation Northwoods, let's get some background information. In 1959, Fidel Castro took control of Cuba, establishing a communist regime just 90 miles off the coast of Florida for the United States. This was unacceptable. The Eisenhower administration attempted to counter Castro, but by 1961, under President Kennedy, relations with Cuba had only worsened. Then came the disastrous Bay of Pigs invasion in April of 1961, a failed attempt by Cuban exiles backed by the U.S. government to overthrow Castro. This failure was a major embarrassment for the Kennedy administration and intensified the urgency to remove Castro from power. Now this brings us to the origins of Operation Northwoods. In the wake of the Bay of Pigs invasion, the United States military and intelligence agencies were desperate for a new strategy. Enter Operation Northwoods, a covert plan proposed by the United States Department of Defense and Joint Chief of Staff in 1962. The plan was nothing short of shocking. General Lyman Lebnitzer and his team devised a plan to justify the U.S. military intervention in Cuba, but here's the disturbing part: this intervention wouldn't be based on anything Cuba had done, but rather a fabricated attack carried out by the U.S. government itself against its own citizens. Now let's get into the details of what Operation Northwoods called for. The details of this operation are quite chilling. The plan proposed a series of false flag operations. False flag operations are covert actions designed to appear as though they were carried out by another nation. In this case, the plan called for U.S. military personnel to stage acts of terrorism on U.S. soil, then blame them on the Cuban government, creating public support for the war. Examples of the proposed operations in Northwoods. Number 1. Simulated hijacking. One suggestion was to hijack civilian airliners or military jets, make it appear as if they were shot down by Cuban forces, then blame Castro for the deaths of American passengers or the damage of the aircrafts. Number 2. Placing bombs within U.S. cities. Another proposal involved planting bombs in Miami and Washington, D.C. and blaming the Cuban agencies for doing so and causing chaos within these cities. Number 3. Faking a Cuban attack on U.S. naval bases. The plan included faking Cuban assault on the U.S. naval bases at Guantanamo Bay to justify military retaliation against the government. These staged attacks were intended to spark public outrage among the American people, giving the government the pretext it needed to launch a full-scale invasion of Cuba. So with all this being said, how far did the plan actually go? Operation Northwoods made its way to the highest level of the United States government. The Joint Chief of Staff approved of the plan, and it was also presented to the Secretary of Defense. And eventually it led its way to John F. Kennedy, but here is where history takes a crucial turn. John F. Kennedy outright rejected the plan and was furious at such an operation had even been proposed. Operation Northwoods was shoved, and soon after, General Lyman was removed from his position. Some historians believe this was a key moment that deepened the divide between the military and John F. Kennedy while he was president. The legacy left behind by Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods remained classified for decades. It wasn't until 1997 that these documents were declassified, revealing the extent of our government's willingness to deceive its own people in the name of national security. For some, Operation Northwoods is just another dark chapter within the United States history, but for others, it is proof of how far our government might go in order to manipulate the public. This proposal has fueled countless conspiracy theories about whether similar operations have been carried out in different contexts. Operation Northwoods serves as a sobering reminder of the potential dangers of unchecked power, where even the most democratic of nations can resort to the most extreme measures. It's a piece of history that focuses to question what else might have been planned or even executed without our knowledge. If you guys made it this far into the video, I'd personally like to thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe. Share this video with a friend or family member who is interested in topics like this. And if you have any suggestions for what I should make a video on next, let me know.